Sure.
Elaine. We do, Your Honour. May we approach? Judge Penny. Sure. Elaine. Your Honour, Mr. Depp was taking photographs and taking pictures outside the courthouse yesterday. Judge Penny. Well, that's not the courthouse. Elaine. Do you see the stone right behind it? Do you see the stone right behind it? Judge Penny. I don't know if that's the courthouse or not. Elaine. Do you see the stonework? Judge Penny. That's not a door at this courthouse. He comes out the judge's lot, and that's not where he comes out. I'm not sure where that is. That might be his hotel, possibly. Benchu. Actually, it looks more like his hotel. Judge Penny. That's not the courthouse. He comes out the judge's lot. We have a pool camera there when he leaves. Elaine. The other thing I wanted to bring up, with respect to that jury yesterday, I would rather the court not re-instruct the jury. Judge Penny. Are you sure? Elaine. Yes. The court already instructed the jury not to do that. I would rather that the court watch the juror to see if anything like that happens again. Judge Penny. Sure. Elaine. And if there is some bias, then we'd ask for alternates. Judge Penny. Okay, alright, that's fine. I was going to read about not the same way, but just to have no contact, but I won't do it. Elaine. Just keep an eye on it. Judge Penny. I will keep an eye on him. You did tell Mr. Depp, though, not to wave back if anybody in the jury waves at him or smiles at him or anything. Benchu. Yeah, I will reiterate that right now. Judge Penny. I would appreciate that, thank you.
Mr. Rottenberg, do you have the redactions for me?
We have one of the two. The other one, we had to make one tweak to, and we're going to do that electronically during.
Yeah, overruled for this question. We'll see at the follow-up. Okay.
I'm sorry?
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that Mr. Depp could act like a child if he didn't get immediate satisfaction?
I never had reason to believe that.
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that Mr. Depp had fundamental issues with anger?
Okay.
Benchu. He's reading from a document, a hearsay document. So, Judge Penny. I don't know what he's reading from. He's just asking a question at this point. I assume if he tries to get something in, that's a different issue. Benchu. Okay. Judge Penny. Let's see where... Okay. Benchu. Okay.
Reason to believe from someone other than Amber that your brother had fundamental issues with anger?
I didn't have reason to believe.
And
Is there, I'm sorry, is there more to the...
There's another page which we can go to, but my question is just this, and I think we established this. This is an email that you received from Dr. Kipper, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, permission to publish the second paragraph on page 1 into the, and then the remainder of that paragraph on page 2 with everything redacted, else redacted.
You're asking to enter it into evidence.
Yes, we'd like to enter it into evidence with those redactions.
Your Honor, key letters, hearsay.
Sure.
Benchu. This is a double hearsay issue. Judge Penny. Okay, go ahead. Benchu. This is Dr. Kipper basically using Amber, a very dubious source. So there's 2 layers of hearsay here. Judge Penny. Right. Benchu. No exception. Judge Penny. What's the basis? J.B. Rottenborn. Not hearsay. She's testifying. She testified that she never heard from anyone. I mean, her whole testimony, Your Honour, has been Amber exaggerates, and no one else ever told me that he has any issues. I don't want to get the first paragraph in. That is hearsay, I agree. But the second paragraph, when he says all these things about Johnny, when she's testifying to the jury, she's making it sound like Amber is the only one. Benchu. Your Honour, it's still double hearsay. This is the very beginning of Dr. Kipper's treatment, where he had reason to think that Amber might have any credibility. Judge Penny. Don't talk over. Okay, go ahead. J.B. Rottenborn. On the stand, she's putting her head in the sand. She's saying Amber was the only one that told me about Johnny. Judge Penny. Then you can ask her. So Dr. Kipper did tell you about this. You can ask her that. But I'm not going to allow this piece of evidence in. Is that okay? Ben Chew. Thanks, Your Honour. J.B. Rottenborn. Thank you.
Ms. Dombrowski, if you can take a look at the first page of that email, please. In the second paragraph. Well, first of all.
And I know that I wanted to be able to be helpful in life because they were arguing all the time.
And I believe you testified earlier that you didn't actually have concerns about your brother's dependence on drugs, right?
No, I said that I did have about the medication.
Just the pain pills?
It was the pain pills.
Nothing else?
I didn't have concern.
So when you said he needs help, that's what you were referring to, is that you believe that your brother needed help with pills?
Objection, Your Honor. This has been asked and answered.
May I approach, Your Honor?
All right.
J.B. Rottenborn. It's not hearsay. Judge Penny. He said asked and answered, which it has been. She's not giving you the answer that you want. I understand that. He objected, asked and answered. J.B. Rottenborn. It's also... Judge Penny. It's a prior inconsistent statement. I understand that. That's why I'm letting her testify to it. But it doesn't come into evidence. Make sense? J.B. Rottenborn. Makes sense. Ben Chew. He has a tendency just to beat the horse. Judge Penny. If you object to asked and answered, then I will either sustain or overrule. Ben Chew. Okay. Thank you, Your Honour. J.B. Rottenborn. Thank you.
Heather, can you please pull up the pages ending in 934? Start with that, please. Actually, let's go to 936.
It's help with Dr. Kipper, I believe.
You were referring to getting your brother help for his drug addictions, correct?
I was referring to getting him help with the medication that he was on.
And if you go to page 938, please. When you told Amber at the bottom of that page at 10:26 p.m., I think you need to tell him you are scared and you can't deal. What did you mean by that? I think you need to tell him you are scared and you can't deal. What did you mean by that? I'm asking her what she meant with one of her statements. It's no different from the statement I just asked her about.
I'm just not sure what the prior inconsistent statement would be for this, which was,
Well, that she's testified that all of Amber's concerns were overblown.
okay.
Ben Chew. Your Honour, this is not a prior inconsistent statement. B.J. Rottenborn. She testified that all of Amber's concerns were overblown, and here she is telling her, I think you need to tell him you're scared. This is the last question I'm going to ask her, and then I will move on from the document. Ben Chew. Just because it's the last question doesn't make it appropriate. Judge Penny. I'm going to sustain the objection. B.J. Rottenborn. Okay.
Drug abuse. You were concerned for your brother and your brother only. Is that right?
I was concerned for my brother, yes.
And only your brother. Is that right?
Did you respond to Ms. Hurd?
No, what I was thinking was that to me, when after saying that, after she said that to me, I'm thinking to myself, gay cock'em yum, hey, how, you know.
All right. I'll sustain that objection. Next question.
Did you see any injuries on Ms. Hurd's face on June 3rd when you spoke with her?
No.
Did you ever speak with Ms. Hurd again after that?
Well, she said to me, after that, the lawyers are making me do all of this. Then I was just looking at her, and then she ended what she was saying by saying, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I closed the door and would never talk to her ever again.
Did you have any interactions with the staff at the Eastern Columbia building about Ms. Hurd's allegations against Mr. Depp?
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay.
Judge Penny. All right. Interactions with staff. Elaine. So, what she's going to elicit now, and I thought it was better to preview it and let Your Honour know. Judge Penny. Okay. Elaine. What she's going to say is that he spoke with other members of the ECB staff and that they showed him this fake punch video that has never been produced, and even with the lawyers. So I'm going to object to hearsay grounds with any communication with him, but I'm also going to object to his testimony of the actual video and what he says he saw on the video. Rebecca. I believe there was a ruling on this. Judge Penny. There was, and your objection's been noted to that. He can't testify to hearsay, what they might have communicated to him. Rebecca. And I'm not going to ask that question. Judge Penny. So it's just the video, we can move on. Your objection's been noted. Rebecca. Okay, thank you. Elaine. Thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny.
Mr. Baruch, did you have any interactions with the staff of the Eastern Columbia building about Ms. Heard's allegations against Mr. Depp?
Yes.
And at some point, did you see a security video taken in the Eastern Columbia building?
Yes.
When was that?
All right.
Now, you said that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard were, you said that they were always nice to each other?
Yeah.
Do you ever remember Mr. Depp referring to Amber with the term cunt?
Like to her face?
No, to you. Calling her a cunt to you.
Maybe in a text.
All right. Did he do it more than once in a text?
I would have no recollection of that. I mean, he's called me a cunt in a text. So, I mean, it could be. I don't know how many texts. If there's something specific, if you could show me a text, that would be a different story. But I don't. You know, we've had many texts together, many you know.
Okay, let's go to line 57 then. It would be section 57 of the exhibit that I have in front of me. Now, this is a text message between you and Mr. Depp. Do you see that?
Well, there's 80 million texts on
If you
there.
go down to 50, go to the one that's numbered 57.
57 from.
Objection, Your Honor.
This is from me to him?
I'm sorry.
May I approach?
Okay, sure.
Rebecca. She's referring to text messages that occurred in prior, after the marriage, by a number of months, so I'm not sure what the relevance could possibly be of these particular text messages. Elaine. He's still referring to her in a very, very base way. You know, saying the cunt rotting corpse. Judge Penny. She's just talking about the timeline of it, saying it's 2 years later. Elaine. Still, I asked if he ever recalled Mr. Depp referring to her as a cunt, and he said he would have to show me. Judge Penny. He said yes. Elaine. Right, and then I said, did he do it more than once? He said you would have to show me. Judge Penny. Yeah? Rebecca. Your Honour, far too much to share. It's a timing. Elaine. It is timely. Judge Penny. I'm going to allow it.
Are you on 57 yet?
57.
Right. And this is to you, correct?